Okay, so I feel kind of like the Bears right now. We have a good game plan. We just can't execute. Welcome to Off Day Analysis with Dan and Dion. Dan Reeder from the Chicago Tribune. I'm Dion Miller from ABC 7. Okay, it's been, 40 hours since the Bears won a rather lukewarm
Yeah.
victory over the Giants on Sunday. I felt like the way it started really kind of changed my attitude. I'm sure you felt that way too. Like that first half, I was like, "Wow, who is this? Like, what's happening?" And then it fizzled into the second half, and I'm stuck on this moment, Dan. Of is it because there was no preseason, even though Mitch really didn't play? Are there a lot of factors at work here, trying to just get adjusted to the new normal of COVID-19 NFL?
Well, here's where I'm stuck because I think this might just be who the 2020 Chicago Bears are. They're not bad. They're not great, right? They're one of these teams that's somewhere in the middle. And we've seen that through their first two games where they play really, really well for stretches. And you say, okay, this looks like a team that's ready to turn a corner. This looks like an offense that's ready to turn a corner. And then all of a sudden you have these long lulls that lead you to believe that, yeah, 8-8 is certainly within the realm of possibility this year. 9-7, somewhere in that range. And that might be who they are. The good news for the Bears, obviously, is that they are 2-0 and that they haven't played great football and that they don't have a hole to dig themselves out of at this point. And so obviously that's something that Matt Nagy can hang his hat on, and they can figure out how to adjust, take advantage of an early season schedule that has given them some gifts and try to continue building on the momentum of being 2-0.
What do you think this does for Mitch and his position? Because by halftime of game one, Dan, people were calling for a quarterback change. And I feel like we're in fool's gold right now because of the opponents that they have, and they are taking advantage of the schedule, and that's great. I don't see the progress. I see some somewhat execution of scripted plays, right? I mean, I feel like that first half, that's what that could be. I don't know that I see marked difference in Mitch.
No, and that's the issue, right? It's just a quarterback who is inconsistent still. And the inconsistency is what is ultimately going to sink Mitch Trubisky. There's no question he has the talent and the ability to make big time plays and game changing contributions, but they just don't happen regularly enough. And as you mentioned, they go to halftime up 17-0. They absolutely controlled that first half against the Giants. They come back in the second half knowing that the Giants are going to be without Saquon Barkley, knowing they're going to be without Sterling Shepard. That's your chance as an entire team, and certainly as a quarterback, as an offense, to just put the Giants out of their misery, right? And just finish it off. Just finish the deal. The Bears go scoreless in the second half once again. Mitch throws 2 interceptions. You can debate who is at fault on each one of those, and perhaps we can do that. But the bottom line is you just didn't do enough to land the knockout punch. And for the second straight week, you had to survive a pass into the end zone on the final play of the game just to catch your breath, exhale, and then get yourself into club dub for another celebration.
Well, let's hope that doesn't become the habit that keeps on going of this fourth quarter sweating it out. I mean, the defense only gave up 13 points. Now, I know they have not looked as dominant as everyone expects, and I do think some of that is just getting in the flow and getting Robert Quinn out there and getting kind of used to what they're going to look like this year. I think that is coming. 13 points is not anything to be mad about. I mean, that's no. Should be able to win games when your defense only gives up 13 points. That is for sure. And how I feel about that. Before the game, I'm going to jump out of that and just ask this question. Are you surprised they paid Tarik Cohen before they paid Allen Robinson?
I don't know about the timeline of things and how much that surprises me, as much as I just am trying to figure out exactly what it is about Cohen that they felt like they couldn't live without, right? Obviously, this guy went to the Pro Bowl in 2018, was an All-Pro as a punt returner, was very effective offensively 2 years ago, right? When he had over 1,100 yards from scrimmage and looked like one of those chess pieces that Matt Nagy really wanted to use. In the time since, in the 18 games that the Bears have played since 2018, Tarik Cohen has just kind of been a guy, and they haven't been able to unlock him offensively. And while I think he's a good player and a guy who obviously works hard and sets a good example in that locker room, he just doesn't strike me as a guy that you absolutely had to lock up. Now, look, it's not a major investment, but to your point, you still have a guy who should be a major priority for you in Allen Robinson, still waiting for his extension. Meanwhile, you've got all these other guys getting paid, whether it's a Tarik Cohen, whether you rewind further to the spring and it's a Danny Trevathan who suddenly looks like he's 65 years old and can't play a lot. If you're Allen Robinson, you're sitting there scratching your head saying, why is everyone else getting their money and I can't get my reward for everything that you tell me I am as a player and as a leader?
he can say all the right things, which he did last week. But I still believe he did ask for a trade or something. I believe that was definitely out there and deserves to be paid. And that can't not weigh on him when he takes the field. I believe it has to be in his brain. But back to Danny Trevathan.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, part of it is that Roquan Smith is making his ascension. And when you go into those, sub packages, which the Bears go to about half the time, Roquan Smith just is going to be your 3-down inside linebacker. He's going to be the guy that can use his speed and his instincts and all those things and help you in run support and coverage. But Danny Trevathan had a very sketchy game, I guess, in week 1 against the Lions. His playing time dropped dramatically in week 2. And so they've just got to figure out what they can squeeze out of him going forward. He means so much to that locker room as a leader, but they need him to be a force on Sundays and not just, Monday to Saturday. And so we'll see where that goes the rest of the year. They're going to need plays to be made from that position. And to this point, through 2 games, Trevathan has looked like a shadow of his former self.
And now they go to Atlanta, to a winless Atlanta team, which I am kind of surprised by that. So I don't know how I see Sunday going, really. I don't know that we know. I feel like you said, we are kind of getting to know the identity of this Bears team, and they are just okay. As their coach said, we're just okay. And I don't think that's good enough for him, but I don't know that they're capable of more than okay.
Well, I appreciate Matt being honest about that and being very straightforward, and we're just okay. That message is going to be driven home at Hallis Hall. We'll see what they can do on the road in Atlanta. The Falcons have given up a ton of points, I think 78 points in their first 2 losses. They've given up more than 900 yards. The Bears are going to have a chance to move the ball. The defense is going to have to stop a high-powered offense. But if it is a shootout, I'm kind of looking forward to that possibility, because you want to see if Trubisky and the offense can respond if forced to be in one of those sort of pinball games, and can they keep the scoreboard ticking upward. So another challenge ahead. But again, to be 2-0 and not have to dig yourself out of a hole, it's unfamiliar territory. Bears haven't been 2-0 since 2013. So away they go.